Hey guys, Popcorn with Spice here, and today I'll be giving you an insight as to why the episode Artist Unknown should always remain in our hearts. I'll also talk about things you may have missed in the episode, as well as what we can learn from it. So without further delay, let's get started. Over the course of the SpongeBob SquarePants franchise, we've been treated with a lot of entertaining episodes involving two of our beloved characters in Squidward and Spongebob, or Squidbob, as I like to call them. And the reason these episodes are always so epic is because of the persona of these two characters. Squidward being the strict, grim, and somewhat intelligent character among the pair, while SpongeBob is the fun, happy-go-lucky character, which means combining these two creates kind of like a yin-yang feeling in these episodes. To understand why this episode is so good, first you need to know what it's all about. The episode begins with Squidward preparing to teach an art class at the Adult Learning Center. In this scene, we can clearly see how excited he was about educating the good people of Bikini Bottom in the ways of art. He even makes a pun about shaping bored housewives in his own image, which wasn't necessarily a real tie to his artistic dreams, but it does add a bit of humor in that context. And in case you didn't know, the man in the image is played by art director Nick Jennings. Shortly after his little daydream, Squidward opens the door and welcomes in a lot of excited citizens who thought the class was meant for cooking. And to his disappointment, the only person who was actually interested in the said art class was his annoying neighbor, Spongebob. Well, you can guess that Squidward wasn't happy about this, but he still, out of a grudge, decided to teach SpongeBob all he knows. On seeing a part like this...
Okay, first, repeat after me. I have no talent.
I have no talent.
Mr. Tentacles has all the talent.
Mr. Tentacles has all the talent.
You would assume that the episode would be all about how terrible SpongeBob is at art, and how miserable Squidward gets at teaching him, but surprisingly that wasn't the case. We got to see that in the first lesson, which was simply to draw a circle, Squidward starts off the demonstration with a poorly drawn circle on the blackboard and then tells SpongeBob to give it a try. He is, however, shocked when the student produces a perfect circle, and from SpongeBob's effortless demonstration, we got to see the steps it takes to draw a perfect head done backwards. Trust me, when I say SpongeBob's artistic skills would have surely given Picasso a run for his money. Not only was SpongeBob good at drawing, but it turns out everything he touches turns to art, from a squeezed up paper
That's you on the bottom.
Give me that!
to torn pieces of paper which he so casually called rippy bits.
What are you doing now?
I call it Rippy Bits. You take a bunch of old ripped up paper and you make a new picture out of it. See, you're on top this time.
At this point, it's pretty much clear who the real artist is between the two of them, but Squidward wasn't really interested in accepting that fact just yet. He then goes to the next lesson, which was in sculpting, to which we see a gentle tap from his chisel turn a marble block into a pile of rubble. SpongeBob's attempt, on the other hand, was one that broke at least 12 laws of physics and overall sanity, but we'll go with it since it's, after all, just a cartoon. With a single stroke from his mallet, SpongeBob was able to replicate Michelangelo's David from his raw block of marble, to which even Squidward testified,
It's beautiful!
I want you to notice a pattern here. Up to this point, SpongeBob is yet to make a mistake in any artwork he creates. And what is even more impressive is the ease at which he outshines someone whose entire life has been around art. But because of the harsh words from a jealous Squidward, he immediately has self-doubt and loses hope in ever becoming a famous artist. It just goes to show you how powerful mere words can be, especially in the life of someone like SpongeBob, who seeks approval from everybody. He even goes so far as to say he deserves to be taken to the dump for his bad art, and at this point you can't help but feel bad for him. That is, until a well-renowned art collector called Monty P. Moneybags comes into Squidward's classroom inquiring about art for sale and a potential next great artist to invest in. Not surprisingly though, Monty P. ended up hating every single piece of art that Squidward had presented to him, most especially his representation of the infamous Bold and Brash, which he so kindly rejected as well.
How about this one? I call it Bold and Brash.
More like belongs in the trash!
Sorry, I must have missed that one.
Disappointed at Squidward's art collection, Monty P. was about to leave, but upon setting eyes on SpongeBob's masterpiece, he immediately fell in love with it and demanded to see the artist responsible, to which Squidward, obviously, took credit for. But the dream was short-lived after Squidward accidentally knocked off the sculpture's head in an attempt to carry it to Monty's car. Let's just call that karma for being mean to SpongeBob. And although it was a disappointment for both of them, Monty still felt recreating such a masterpiece should be a piece of cake for an artistic genius like Squidward, insisting that he would return the next day for it. And as you'd expect, Squidward immediately makes his way to the city dump to try and convince SpongeBob to create another one for him. He was, however, successful in his persuasion, but at that point the damage was already done on SpongeBob's mentality. So much so that the once art genius tried to imitate the flawed methods his teacher was initially trying to teach him. The result, as you'd probably guess, was a series of failed attempts by SpongeBob in all his endeavors. Unfortunately, SpongeBob didn't see them as failures because according to him, he followed the rules. But obviously, Squidward knew this wasn't the case, and out of anger, he spirals out of control, smashing pieces of marble blocks with anything he can lay his tentacles on. Not long after, Monty P. Moneybags returns for his new art, but upon seeing what Squidward had produced, incredulously asked for who was responsible for it. And knowing full well how his previous artworks have been, Squidward, without even looking at the end result of his rage, immediately shifts the blame to the janitor and angrily storms out of the classroom. However, to the surprise of everyone, the sculpture Squidward created in a rage-induced fury was an even bigger and more beautiful rendition of David. The episode ends with Monty P. Moneybags crying out to the janitor,
You, sir, are the greatest artist who ever lived!
thus bringing the episode to an end. What can you learn from this episode? Well, besides the multiple Easter eggs in the episode, like Squidward's representation of the American Gothic and Leonardo da Vinci's Vitruvian Man, the first lesson we can learn is to use your words wisely. As you clearly saw in the video, not only did Squidward's negative comments on SpongeBob's sculpture break the poor sponge physically and mentally, it also came back to haunt him when he needed SpongeBob's art the most. Always bear in mind that no matter how annoyed you are with a person, you should always try your best to address the situation with the right words at all times. And the last point comes in the final parts of the episode. Irrespective of what Squidward thought of himself, we clearly see that he was capable of greatness. It was in him all along, even if he didn't know it, which is a clear indication that no matter how imperfect a person is or may be, everyone can achieve greatness. It all depends on your motivation and will. And that's it for our video, guys. Do you agree with our lesson today? Please let us know in the comments section below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you wish to see more amazing content just like this. And as always, thanks for watching.